Hungry? Genova's to go. Pizza, pasta, subs, and more. Fresh hot pizza right from the oven. Genova's to go. A mouth-watering cheesesteak just off the grill. Genova's to go. Fresh baked bread and plump wings seconds from the fryer. Genova's to go. Genova's to go carry-out, delivery, mobile device, and online ordering is available at all locations. Westminster, Hampstead, Manchester, and our newest dining room in Eldersburg for lunch, dinner, or any time in between. Genova's to go.
There's a lot about Sarah and Tara that's exactly alike. They drink the same coffee, they have the same great job, and they both have a high-quality education. The only difference? Sarah spent her first 2 years at Carroll Community College, getting the same exceptional education, but at less than half the cost. So while Tara uses her paycheck to make student loan payments, Sarah can use hers for other things, like going out for coffee. Get started at carrollcc.edu.
Carroll Indoor Sports Center, celebrating its 30th season. 66,000 square feet of fields and courts. Rain or shine, multiple soccer and lacrosse leagues. Artificial turf fields and courts to rent. Party rooms and snack bar available. Summer camp for the kids. Safe indoor environment for athletes of all ages. Carroll Indoor Sports Center, your sport, anytime.
At Absolute Landscape, we believe that a great landscape is about transforming a space to exceed every expectation. From intricate hardscapes to lush green gardens, our goal is to bring vision to life. Creating outdoor environments for our clients, we offer services from design to installation and maintenance of your outdoor space. Enjoyment all year round is what Absolute Landscapes is all about.
CMSportsNet is made possible by Genova's To Go, Carroll Links, Carroll Indoor Sports Center, Absolute Landscape, and Independent Car Service. The Central Maryland Sports Network is a programming service of the Community Media Center.
Hello, everyone. Good afternoon, and welcome to the CMSportsNet Game of the Week. We've got Westminster taking on Century for the Carroll County Athletic League Boys Lacrosse Championship. I'm Pat Stoetzer. Joining me again, former South Carroll coach Grady Breen. Thanks for being here, Coach. We're getting ready for a good one here today.
It's going to be a great Saturday, Pat.
Saturday lacrosse, one of your favorite things, right?
Exactly.
All right, here's the deal. Century can repeat as county champions with a victory today. It'll be the Knights' fourth in the last 5 seasons. Century's 4-1 in county play and 6-5 overall. Despite having to forfeit 2 games earlier because of an eligible player, they've won 5 games in a row and 7 on the field if you don't count the forfeits. Westminster trying to snap a late-season skid. The Owls can finish 6-0 in county play with a win. It'll be Westminster's 8th county title if they do it since 2013. But the Owls enter this game having lost 3 games in a row. Each team put together its own journey, and we can take a look and see Century and Westminster's last 4 results, kind of how they got here sort of thing. We can look at Westminster's first as you see some warm-ups going on before we get set for the game between the Owls and the Knights. The Owls took down city rival Winters Mill, but since then it has been a struggle. Losses against non-county opponents Glenelg, Delaney, and Catonsville. The Comets won that game Thursday 6-5. Westminster comes into this one, Coach, just needing a win, of course. The game doesn't mean anything technically for the playoffs in terms of what it does for seeding, but more importantly, the bragging rights, I think, is a big deal here.
Yeah, I think in this county, Westminster's been kind of the standard for, I would say, at least the last 10 years, but in the last couple of years, Century's really been bucking that trend, winning 3 of the last 4.
Yeah.
So if they can put this feather in the cap and win another one, we really have to come into each year expecting Century to be the one.
No doubt. Yeah, no doubt. We mentioned the forfeits. They didn't phase the Knights. In fact, they haven't lost a game on the field since April 3rd against Towson. They beat Delaney but had to lose it because of forfeit, and they beat Winters Mill. That's their 1 count loss in the books. Most recently, Century took down Patterson Mill, and they scored 17 goals in that game. Their offense is starting to get cooking a little bit. It took them a couple games in March and early April, but both offenses are potent, but Century is really balanced and coming along pretty strong.
Yeah, it's not a game that they're probably talking about, but if I'm looking at Century's momentum this year, I'm looking at their win against Ligonier. Okay. Ligonier has long been a really stout program coming out of Frederick County, and for them to put up 15 goals on Ligonier, when usually Ligonier does very well against Carroll County, if we're honest, win by 10, 15-5, dominant fashion. They're clicking, but they're young. They're very young. They're very young, but they've kind of figured out this maturity piece late. They've got a couple pieces that kind of play much older than they are. So this is going to be a really good game. It's just kind of which kind of really good game that we see today, Pat.
Yep, there's Westminster's recent results on how we got here with the Owls. There's that win against Winters Mill. Stumbles against Glenelg, Delaney, and Catonsville. Not easy opponents. And, and the offense kind of trickled down a little bit since that 16-4. Coach Mike Fleming and his offense, they can get going. We saw them in a low-scoring game against Man Valley a little while ago. So the offense has been kind of up and down for the Owls, although they've got some potent players, and we'll see them in a minute. Talk about one or two of them momentarily. And then here's Century's most recent games again. You mentioned the Ligonier game, the 15-5 game against a really good Frederick County opponent. What's that, 14 or at least 14 goals in each of those last 4 games. That's a potent offense.
Yeah, I think coming into this year, Coach Jeremy Benson really had to change up his coaching staff because of a couple of departures for bigger and better things. And for him to say that he knew that this was going to be his best offense really said something. They've definitely played a lot faster than they have in the past. Usually they were a much more slow and methodical team, but this year they like to push the NASCAR pace.
NASCAR pace, indeed. There's your county standings right now. Westminster can wrap it up with a 6-0 victory, or 6-0 in the county if they get a victory today, but just 6-7 overall, so really good in the county, not as good outside of the county. There's our players to watch matchup. We've got Jack Hitchcock of Westminster and Mikey Burns of South Carroll, 2 of the top scorers right now in the CCAL, and you're going to see a lot of those guys with a chance with the ball in their stick when their offense needs it the most.
Yeah, Pat, I think another matchup to look is, when we were at the Manchester Valley Westminster game, Westminster's Wes Zengraff played fantastically. He really stood in his head. That really stood out to me. On the flip side, Century's goalie, Ushimersky, he's acrobatic, he's athletic, he makes a lot of things that you just don't expect. If it's the game that Westminster wants, Zengraff is really going to have to do his thing because I know Century's offense is really going to pepper him. And Ushimersky is always, ready to take a couple goals that you think are guarantees away from the Owls offense.
Yeah, you're right. You mentioned the goalies. We're going to talk to him about them in a minute. We've got a real clash of good defenses here as well. Ushimersky is certainly one of the top in the county. I believe he has the most saves and the most save percentage, or the top save percentage in the county. And then we're talking about, there you mentioned him, Wes Zengraff, 121 saves, 54.7 save percentage. It could come down to the battle of the 2 goalies. We'll see. I think it's a classic thing. Like we mentioned, we talked about Century. They've given up about 80 couple goals this year. The defense is that's the one part where the defense is, where the Century is veteran leading with Don D'Amico and JT Ferguson at the helm there. There you see Jacob Ushimersky in the goal, 142 saves and a 68.9 save percentage. Both of those numbers are tops. It is tough to score on their defense. Yep. Westminster's offense will be tested. Westminster in the black uniforms today. You see the captains out at near midfield and with the blue numbers on their jerseys, and Century in their whites. Talking to the officials, what are you looking forward to the most today, Grady? Besides the fact that we're playing on a Saturday afternoon, you like that a lot. Something that maybe you want to look forward to on the Westminster side of things first.
Well, Westminster, that game against Manchester Valley really stood out to me, Pat, because they were able to just kind of go at whatever matchup they felt comfortable in. Westminster, they have a lot of kids who can play similar roles, which is really impressive for them. So I think finding the weak point and weak point fast is going to be crucial for them. Winning at the X, getting more possessions is going to be huge for them, because I think if it's back and forth, that leans towards Century. But in general, if they can tilt the field possession-wise and really find the weak link early, that definitely helps the Owls.
We'll pause for a moment, and we will Listen in to the Star Spangled Banner, and then we'll be back with the lineups and the first face-off.
In the DC.
National anthem at the Castle in Eldersburg as we get set for Westminster and Century, our CMSportsNet Game of the Week regular season finale. Hard to believe, Grady, the playoffs begin next week. I mean, we're already into May. What happened in April? April flew by, and here we are early May, and it's almost time for regional playoffs. But we got a good one here on tap between Westminster and Century. You know, I think Westminster impressed us with the way they put themselves in that Man Valley game, the low scoring, which is kind of what Man Valley wanted to do to Westminster, and they still prevailed. They had to come back late in that game to get it to get the 1-goal lead. And she in the huddle there to Century. What's maybe one key to victory on both sides? Really could be maybe some of the leaders on the defensive side for Century and on the offensive side of Westminster.
Well, I think leadership-wise is details. Little details, catch throwing clean, but also, like, let's be honest, some of these fields aren't in perfect shape.
Right.
April's usually moist.
Something you got to deal with.
So, who's going to be the team? And frankly, Pat, like, we saw that swing a couple possessions in that Manchester Valley game. Like, who's going to be the team that, hey, maybe field conditions, even though the weather's night, it's not perfect today. Those little things could, give you an extra possession, get you out of a bad possession, etc. So those are things I'm looking forward. It's May, this is going to be about a county, right? But it's also going to be who's going to enter into playoffs with good momentum
100%.
Or not the momentum you want, because you want to go into that Monday meeting and say, okay, these are the things we did well. Let's keep going rather than, we've got some things to button up before playoffs hit, because playoffs happen really, really fast.
Yes, they do. And if you're not careful, you're done before next weekend. Yes. We've seen a couple Carroll teams ride some hot momentum into the regular season and only to bow out early on. So we are set to go. Opening face-off. And glad you're with us for the CMSportsNet Game of the Week. Won by Century. This is my first time seeing Century live, Coach. I'm interested to see freshman Noah Tignall, number 14. He's really had a good first year. Jeremy Benson, plenty of praise heaped upon him before the season started. He's lived up to the hype.
Yeah, as a freshman, has been really impressive, and only kind of bodes well for his future. And frankly, the Century team could only be better next year.
I mean, Mikey Burns, sophomore, Will Koenig, sophomore, Noah Tignall, freshman. There's other sophomores out there too that are on this team. Right now, Westminster has the offense, even after Century won the opening face-off. Shot taken there by
Jacob Spiegel.
Yes, sir. Owls back it up, so they'll have possession still. Early here, first quarter, CMSportsNet Game of the Week from Eldersburg.
Hitchcock with a dodge behind X.
That's JT Ferguson on him, 32. So two of the top athletes in Carroll County going at it. And Dom D'Amico comes in with the loose ball. D'Amico tried to get it to his teammate Ferguson, just couldn't quite do it. And that's the things, right? Early in the game, you want to try to shore those little moments up because that's early first quarter. Okay, we threw it away. No big deal. It can be a big deal as we go further in this game.
now that they're getting another possession, we saw a take by Spiegel earlier, a dodge by Hitchcock just now, but Westminster, is facing a goalie that really is going to play bigger as he gets more shots. So you really want to get to him sooner rather than later, because with momentum, Ushimersky plays even stronger than he is. They've tested him high a couple times. I'd really like to see them change plans and go low.
Looked like an equipment malfunction there for Century. Westminster took a shot and missed, but the Knights backed it up, so now the Knights will go. You see it might be a glove out there or a stick head in the middle of the field. Dom D'Amico will carry it up. That was 16, Tyler Hanscom, their Fogo. Or at least he listed as the Fogo earlier, so he's off the field right now. But the Knights are on offense. For the first time, there's take off there with the red stick head. It kind of stands out. Good look, good shot, and a score.
Mikey Burns, lefty corner.
Good start for the Knights.
Kind of a limited sample size there, Pat, but it looked like Westminster was kind of sitting in a little bit of a 2-2 zone. Definitely a look that I would throw at Century, but you just got to make sure your communication is that much more buttoned up, because the shot came off a missed rotation there. So it'll be interesting to see what they do.
Yeah, and it left Burns pretty much wide open here on the near side. So this face-off won by Westminster.
Spiegel with another ground ball off the wing.
And the Owls have their second trip down on offense. So the Knights' first shot on goal goes into the net and gives the home team a 1-0 lead, but Westminster back on the offensive charge here. 9 minutes to go, 9:15, I should say, to go in the opening quarter.
As this game goes on, Pat, Century's really known defensively by, Ushimersky, of course, in net, but also, 22 and 32 in D'Amico and Ferguson. So Westminster's really going to have to focus on, okay, what are we making the other four defenders do? And also, are we making D'Amico and Ferguson play more than just their guy? Are we making them rotate, etc.? Good take there. Ushimersky with a solid save. Getting to Duncan in the middle of the field.
Yep, Duncan. Now here's Burns again. Burns slips slow with defender, and Mikey Burns has his second goal of the day. So two quick ones for Burns. We mentioned he's a player to watch.
Nice look there by Duncan out of transition to Burns. Playing with his head up.
Yeah, nice pass upfield from Duncan, and Burns created his own shot there. 2-0 Century. There you go. Mikey Burns already off to a 2-goal game. The offense has been dangerous over the last 4 or 5 weeks for Century, and Westminster's going to have to really regroup itself here on defense to counter that. Face-off won by the Knights.
Nathan McLaughlin with a GB off the wing.
Another sophomore.
Kind of a running theme here with this Century team.
A lot of juniors, sophomores, and not too many seniors on this team, but Burns again. Nice pass to the middle. Oh, tried to bounce one. I don't know if Zengraf got it.
Looks like Zengraf tipped it just by his foot, but a good backup from Koenig.
Knights still have it. Low shot, and it squirts in. Zengraf didn't think it did, but it did. Give one to Quentin Duncan.
Nice take there to go low again.
Great start for Century.
Century goal made by number 9, Quentin Duncan. Assist goes to number 20, Mikey Burns.
And a timeout, yeah. Westminster's
lanes or, not overcomplicating things. And that's why they're up 3-0.
If you want to nitpick, they did turn it over once earlier in the game with the two defenders, but we can give them some guff for not being able to throw the ball to each other. Dom D'Amico and JT Ferguson threw the ball to each other plenty during their football days. But if that's the one thing they've done wrong so far, it's been a pretty good start. And we're only 4 minutes into this game, and it's 3-0 Century. So back to the face-off X we go. There's Hanscom for Century, and I think that's going to be a push on Century. Let's see, what are they calling here? Looked to me like they're going to have a push. Yep, it's going to be a face-off won by the Owls, and that's, like you mentioned earlier, Jacob Spiegel, number 2, going to bring it in.
Now, with Westminster winning, 3 of the first 4, that's the encouraging stat for them. I think they need to possess the ball a little bit longer. Century's not a team that you want to play track with. So giving Century the old dose of their medicine is what the Owls need right now.
We live streamed Century's game against Liberty just a little while ago, and that was a close game and a low-scoring game until the second half. Century just opened up on offense, and Liberty had no answer. They ran away with it. I think 14-5 was the final score. I watched that one from back at the studios. I was impressed with the way Century, you just mentioned, there's a nice interception by Ushamursky. He goes up over the top, and right away, here come the Knights. Just their ability to pass the ball around. Nice pass in again, and another quick goal. Will Koenig gets the goal. I believe that was McLaughlin with the assist. And wow, picture-perfect start so far for Century.
Yeah, they've really barely possessed the ball, so 3 of the goals practically in transition really stands out.
That might be 4 goals on 4 shots.
Yes.
Oh, no, there was another shot that Zengraf got a piece of.
Yes,
so
true.
5 shots and 4 goals. Wow. Little shell-shocked here. 4-0 Century.
That put the Knights on the board with 4 Owls 0.
3 assists on those 4 goals.
Kind of what an offensive coordinator wants.
Yep. And a win off the X.
Aiden Abrams the win.
Burns will get around his defender. Momentarily, Burns back to behind the net. Right up top, Quentin Duncan's got a shot. Quentin Duncan goes high. Wow, Century pouring it on right here early on in this game.
Yeah, Westminster's defense right now, Pat, is really spinning. They're out of sorts. They're playing too far aggressively from a help perspective. So they're kind of overreacting to a lot of things, and it's not good math for your defense when you're allowing shots from probably 8 to 10 yards.
No, it is not. You don't want that guy at the top of that box to have clear view. Not much what Zengraf can do there when he's got the offensive player right past the restraining line, ripping shots. But 5-0. Now let's see what we got here. It's going to be Owls face off the penalty. So the one positive thing is that's the 3rd win that I have anyway for the Owls off the face-off. So they just haven't generated any offense yet. 5-0 Century.
Yeah, as I was saying earlier, Pat, Westminster really wants to take some air out of the ball right now, at least in my thought. Take some air out of the ball, slow it down, give their defense a breather, and take the right shot, not the first shot. I think they're used to playing at a slightly different pace, and I don't know if that's going to bode well long-term. I think everyone's got to catch their breath a little bit.
That was Jack Hitchcock from the far side. I think his shot just went a little bit awry on the net. They backed it up, though, so the Owls keep the ball.
Chase Zepp dodging the pull from X.
That's one thing, too. We're going to rattle off some names here. And, I mean, there's Tyler Wareheim with a left-handed shot that's gobbled up by Oosh. Westminster has the talent to put points on the board. We've seen it. So it's not as if this game is out of reach.
No.
But they can't get too far behind.
No, can't get too far behind in general. That shot was taken at just about 40 seconds of possession time. And, you know,
a little quick in your mind.
Little quick. If Century really wants to play a track meet, 40-second possessions are only going to bode well for them.
There's a laser off the pipe, I think, taken by Duncan. He's got a pretty hard shot.
Yes, especially when he can, you know, take a couple
Crank
steps
it
into it. Westminster right now doesn't seem like they're talking enough. They're in this 2-2 zone look. And it's really making it's ironically making them ball watch more.
Koenig tried to get Burns a shot. Burns bounced it. Owls backed that up, though, so the Owls get a chance here now.
Shot bounces over goal, backed up by Westminster.
That's 27, Wyatt McNamara, one of the defenders back there, to the right of goalie Wes Zengraf. You see Wes kind of directing traffic right to midfield, and now the Owls can try to set things up here. That was a good pass there from Nick Durr. Owls in desperate need of some offense. Under 5 to go, first quarter, and they are down 5-0. Some perimeter passing there by Westminster. This is Spiegel. Up top to Zepp. Hitchcock gets between, never got there. And ball down and a ground ball by McLaughlin. Yeah. Another GB, you mentioned his name earlier.
Yeah.
So these possessions are wasted early on. Not wasted, I won't say wasted negatively. Just the fact that they're not getting shots off. And, nice, almost try to thread that needle, but a good job there by Westminster to intercept. And McNamara bringing it up. So Owls back again on offense. Hitchcock up top. Zepp. Ushamersky. Ooh, loose ball, though. Ush couldn't pick it up, but he will get a save for that.
Yeah, Westminster really wants to shoot these balls high. And Ushamersky has a 68% save percentage for a reason. So, you know, they've got some quality shots, again, a little earlier than I think they want for the tone of this game. But you're not going to make... You know, there we go. He finally goes low, and they put one away. So that's a little bit of a pressure relief for the Owls.
Nick Comfer puts the Owls on the board, and like you said, that could, what they're hoping is, let some pressure out of the pipes and get this offense rolling again. Comfer took the defense and just decided to take it himself. Took a little bit of a defensive shot there and had some room to run, and Nick Comfer puts Westminster on the board. So with 3:26 to go, the Owls have their first goal of the game. It's 5-1. And sometimes that is what it takes, right?
Yes,
just one
100%.
to get in and settle yourselves down, take a breath. See what translates to this face-off. Ooh, two knights collide, and the Owls do get the face-off. That's 4 now for Westminster.
If they can get some momentum here, you know, they should have confidence that the X, this bodes well. They just have to keep taking the right shot rather than the wrong shot. And that the wrong shot, unfortunately, looks like a lot more things than the right shot does.
Such is the mystery of lacrosse, right? Spiegel. Dodge one defender. Ushamersky save. Rebound, though. That's a rebound off the ground. That's a tough one to pick up.
Nice play by Webb. Keeping his nose to the ball and just pouncing on it.
Cam Webb with the loose ball goal.
It counts just the same as stick side high. So
sure does.
That's important.
Yeah, Ushamersky made a nice save.
Yeah, having watched a couple of his games, Pat, and coached against him last year, the really challenging part for a kid like Ushamersky is he makes just enough saves that you just don't expect it all. So that really kind of plays into the psychology of shooters, because you watch him just kind of like fall on one and you're like, how did he get there? But he seems to get it, and for only a sophomore, the kid is very talented.
Right. So the Owls have it again. They win that face-off? I wasn't even, we were talking.
Absolutely.
Okay. That one never got to the goal, I believe.
Nope.
Out of bounds. Stays with the Owls.
Again, too early of an attack. You know, I'm just the one in the booth, but I think over the course of the time, I think the Owls want to say, hey, let's not make this a fast game. Let's make this a slower game because, you know, now 5-2, we're looking at a game with a minute 55 seconds left. It's not a 5-0 game.
Sure.
5 minutes left.
And we're only in the first quarter.
Yes.
High shot saved by Oosh. Down to his keister. But Century can't get it out of the zone, and now the Owls can come back on a rush. Armsmeyer goes low and scores. And there you go, Grady. That's 3 straight for Westminster.
Good ride. They forced the overpass. I think the Century defense could have still gone back to their goalie there, but they go the overpass. It's mishandled, and frankly, the only mistakes really for Century has been coming in the clearing game. It's for them just taking a deep breath, but a good little 3-goal run for the Owls.
We saw Arnsmeyer back in the Man Valley game scored the game-winning goal in the final seconds, and he's got one today here that puts the Owls on the board with 3 now, and battling for that face-off. Century's going to get this one.
No, nice ground ball for Duncan. Knows how to just kind of keep his wits about him and have a nose for the ball.
Burns didn't quite have a good angle there. Shot that one wide left, out of bounds with 56 seconds to go in the opening quarter. And we got ourselves a game now, 5-3 after the 5-0 run to start the game by the Knights. The Owls have put 3 on the board. Ooh, bounce pass comes out of the zone.
Duncan with it again.
Still plenty of time, 45 seconds. Here's Burns going to go far side, or at least to the middle. And we haven't heard much of Tignall yet. And here he is, dodges one defender, and just like that, Tignall takes a shot, and he takes a shot by the defender. The shot was wide. Century backed it up.
Good take.
20 seconds, yep. Tignall. And he finds the net.
Okay.
You like that, huh?
Decent shot for a freshman.
It works.
Okay.
It works.
That's for sure. That works.
That might have been Will Koenig with the assist. See the replay
And
here.
makes the score yours, Century Knights 6.
Yep, indeed. Koenig took Tignall, and Tignall with a nice job there. That's 3 assists now by my count for Will Koenig.
Big takeaway from that possession, Pat, is that Westminster's going to feel a lot more comfortable rotating to Century with a ball up top. But as long as Century keeps pushing the ball from X, I think Westminster's going to keep spinning it. I'd like to see what they come out with adjustments out of their next halftime.
Turf Monster got Duncan. They get the final, they do get the face-off, and that's how the first quarter comes to an end. So 6-3 is your score after 1 quarter.
That's the end of the first period with the score after 1.
So Westminster got on the board with 3 straight. Century responds with 1 lead at the end of the first quarter, and that's your first quarter score here in the game at the game of the week, 6-3 in favor of Century. Really nice first quarter by the Knights.
Yeah, you know, they I think rang 2 shots off posts. Zengraf got a foot on one, but they were swinging the ball. They were, you know, there was no real shot that you were like, I don't know if that was the best take. They were changing planes. They're making the ball do the work. So I was really impressed with the Century offense. Defensively, you know, there's so many things that they can do defensively, because Ushamersky is going to really be the magic eraser for so many things. They're, you know, any time their slides are even just a little bit off,
right?
If that shot's not perfect, Ushamersky's going to, you know, gobble it up. So good on them on that end. I'd like to see Westminster really ride hard. I think that's a way that they can kind of play the uneven game a little bit more. And then continue to kind of take slow the ball down a little bit offensively.
And how about for Westminster? You saw them kind of get back into yeah. And then right. I'm sorry, you're talking about Westminster. And then, I mean, we're impressed with Century's defense. I'm equally impressed with their last line of defense, and that's Ushamursky. For a 10th grader, he composed himself very well between the pipes.
He plays like a grown man back there, just in terms of you're forgetting this kid's a 10th grader, settles things down, makes a lot of saves that you just don't teach. There's no drill to say, hey, fall directly on your butt and save it. Yeah, do that.
Yeah, over and over again.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. Westminster solved him for a stretch there in that second quarter, in the middle of the first quarter, but then Ushamursky comes up with a nice big save, and when he makes a save, that offense turns tail and goes, and the offense goes quick. Whereas what you mentioned it, Grady, how you want Westminster to maybe take their time, be patient, and try to solve that defense. The Knights want to run, and get down there and set up their playmakers. And we talked to Coach Jeremy Benson preseason and during the season, and he doesn't list positions. He lists offense and defense, almost like they might play some attack. They might play some. Now he's got some more defined guys now, but he wanted to let it go and let his guys run and make plays. It was a unique style that I thought, usually you run more uniform. Okay, you're my first line of attack. It's a little more free-flowing. It worked for them.
It's an embarrassment of riches. That's what it is for sure.
And off the face-off was won by the Owls, but now a turnover here, and Ushamursky gobbles up a ball, and now here comes JT Ferguson upfield. There's McLaughlin back behind the net. Koenig up top. Oh, McLaughlin thought about it momentarily. There's a shot that bounces in.
Nice take by Lounsbury. And honestly, Pat, we've said his name a couple times. Will McLaughlin isn't going to show up in every stat book, but he does a lot of things for this Knights team. A lot of clears, a lot of ground balls, a lot of one more passes. So it's nice to see a kid find such a specific role that even kind of outside the stat book, but he helps this team go.
Going to give the assist to Duncan.
Once again, Will McLaughlin with the ground ball. Oh, sorry, Nathan McLaughlin.
Yep. After another face-off won by Westminster, correct?
Oh, off the Tignall skip pass. Century ball at X. Jack Galligan. No, excuse me, Mikey Burns.
Tignall makes a dodge. Oh, there's a save by Zengrath as Tignall went off his feet. So Wes Zengrath got a piece of that one.
Good physical defense there for Westminster. I think Tignall probably went a step or two more than he probably should have before that take. Good to see him get back up, though, of course.
Yes, sir.
Koenig
gets around him. Koenig.
Good save there by Zengrath.
Indeed. So another save for Zengrath there, give him 3 by my count. And stopped for moments there, but Century has possession.
Nice little take there. Mikey Burns
again.
Push that short corner. Little under move against the zone look from Westminster.
Yeah, Burns just gets around the defender and stays near side. 3 goals for Mikey Burns. Just when Westminster had gotten itself back in the game, now the Owls, or excuse me, the Knights score, what, 3 straight now? Making a 8-3 game, back to a 5-goal edge.
A little different tempo that we saw earlier, Pat, but it's going to be interesting how these next kind of middle quarters go. Still 9:21 left in the second, but Arnsmeyer really riding this Century defense hard, which is, I think, a important piece for this Westminster team if they want to kind of chip away at this 5-goal difference. A great way to not let a team run around is ride them hard.
And Century sets up shop again.
Tignall with a ground ball over by the corner. If I've learned anything playing here at the Castle, it's that it's always due for a couple ground balls that just don't go out.
Yes. Home field advantage maybe for Century. Nice pass back to McLaughlin. McLaughlin takes a shot.
Nice take there on the give and go.
Ball out of bounds. Backed up by Century. McLaughlin lost a shoe, I think, momentarily.
Backed up by Century. Nice ball.
So 4 minutes gone by now in the second quarter. And Century back to its 5-goal lead at 8-3. Koenig gets around one defender, ball down though, and McNamara has the ground ball for Westminster's defense. McNamara held on to it. Koenig. Oh, that's a tough pass.
Bad pass in the middle of the field. Lounsbury with a pick.
Duncan steps in. Oh, Koenig with a laser from the right side.
That was pretty. Another kind of good middle of field play. Duncan involved there. I've been impressed with him today.
2 goals and 2 assists now for Duncan. 2 goals and 3 assists for Will Koenig. And it's 9-3. Their biggest lead so far. 9 goals, 7 assists by what I've got so far. So obviously distributing the ball very well.
Yeah, really unselfish display here, and I think that only tends to kind of snowball for this team because
it gets rolling, right? One guy wants to do it, then the next guy wants to do it.
Especially with how Westminster's playing defense, it's giving a lot of good kind of, the rotations aren't always quite there. So
Westminster has dominated. The one thing they have dominated is the X. That's 9-4 by my count. They went on a little run, and now they would win it, and then Century would get a turnover. So it's not exactly the most positive stat for Coach Mike Fleming's boys, but they do have 9 face-off wins so far.
Not usually the discrepancy you see in a 9-3 game.
Yes.
That's definitely a sign of hope for Westminster. They just got to know which button to press. Nice.
Well, there's a good take by Spiegel.
Wow.
Did Oosh get a piece of that?
I think it was a check late, but I was impressed with that dodge by Spiegel. That was a good move to get underneath his guy.
Matt Ford over there is 25, I believe, one of the other defenders for Westminster. Right in front again. That time it's Arnsmeyer.
Good.
And Hitchcock with the assist.
Great feed by Hitchcock. Flick the wrist, get it off, put it in his pocket. That was really impressive. That's the kind of offense that Westminster should play right there. Attack from X a little bit more. Make the goalie rotate his head. That's a huge benefit. I think they've kind of kept the ball on one side of him a little bit too much in terms of like where the shots are coming from. So
Arnsmeyer and Hitchcock work well on that play. It's almost the same play we saw against Man Valley, and they scored on that play in the first quarter as well. So 9-4, Westminster gets back on the board. And another face-off won by Westminster.
Chase Fisher Similar play that we saw him make against Manchester Valley.
That's right.
Hitchcock again with the ball at X.
Fisher comes off and gets a high five from the assistant coaches. We didn't have the young man on our roster back in Man Valley's game, but he's out there now, number 19 for Westminster. So Chase Fisher helping out offensively. 10-4 now by my keeping track of the faceoffs, and we're about halfway home here in the second quarter. Good crowd on hand here, too, at the Castle. They know the significance of the game. The winner wins the county title. Kind of cool that it comes down to this, the last game of the regular season between these two teams. And we sort of thought it might. We circled it on our calendars, Grady, and you said, I'll be ready for you, man, May 3rd. And here we are.
Yeah, it's this game really, since that COVID season, has just been an absolute barn burner of a matchup. So I'm glad that it's living up to the hype. Oh, great one more pass.
Oh, Zengraf. I believe he made that save.
It was tipped in a ground ball, but
okay.
A good cross crease pass there by the Century offense.
Hitchcock tried to make a move. Tignall had it momentarily. Scrap for it here right at the restraining line. Owls come away with it. Hitchcock's got it. Arnsmeyer pick. Hitchcock low shot. That's backed up by Century.
Great fight by Hitchcock.
That was.
Ton of determination there. You know, at certain points, a coach might say, like, pull it out, slow it down there.
Wow, they're actually going to call this Owls ball. Maybe they're saying it was a shot. Well, it shouldn't matter, right?
Yeah, even so.
Well,
I'm a bit confused.
Me too. Coach Fleming and the assistants immediately were asking, and the official did reverse his call quickly, so he must have saw something that we didn't. Either way, the Owls had the ball here. Under 5 to go, second quarter.
Cam Webb with a ball here.
Flag down. It's going to be a foul, I believe, on Century. Our first flag, I'm not mistaken.
First flag, indeed, Pat. Nice initial move there by Webb. I thought Westminster would be better off if he kind of kicked it forward a little bit more, a little bit too much on the individual, but it's going to be interesting to see what they can generate out of this man-up opportunity.
It's Lounsbury who gets called for it 1 minute full time, so Westminster has a chance here to, if they can, put a couple goals on the board.
And two, Pat, as we've mentioned throughout this thing, is that with the confidence they have at the X, you know, if they didn't have that, now you're treating it like a 30-second, right? Like, okay, we're gonna, you know, or let's wait until the second half of the 30 seconds.
Yeah.
Now, hey, let's be aggressive and see what we can generate here, because we know we're probably going to win the faceoff.
Yeah, if we score, which
good
Spiegel and a save.
Good take by Spiegel.
Oosh being Oosh in net.
McLaughlin once again with the ball in the middle of the field.
So just like that, though, I mean, Westminster takes its first shot, and Oosh makes the save, and they're back on defense, and that's not what you want. This could be a problem here. Duncan. Yeah, that's going to be a push. Yeah.
Yep.
It's going to be a push.
Yeah.
Chase Fisher, not what he wanted to do there. I'm sorry, Grady, we got a flag on the far side as well. But that's not what you wanted there. You just got a little aggressive as the ball was down, and let's see what happens here. Still serving the penalty. Lounsbury's still in.
Something else locked in.
Go ahead. Yeah, you know. What was it?
What? Was that unsportsmanlike? Locked in. I didn't see the full. I looked up at the full call, but I did see the locked in motion.
We'll get it here momentarily.
Not what you want, though,
no.
For sure.
So a foul on Fisher, and then Mike Fleming talking to one of the officials about the other call. I don't see anybody else in the box.
2 penalties on the field, 30-second penalty and a 1-minute penalty. Both against Westminster.
All right, Century has it.
Century now on a 5-on-4 after that double penalty on Westminster.
Oh, good pass, low
great
shot.
Finish by Duncan.
Right in front.
Went with the back end there, Pat. Skills are solutions, and he definitely solved that problem. So good on Mr. Duncan. Known the family for a long time. Glad to see him doing so well.
Let's see who fed him. Was it McLaughlin? No, it was Burns, I believe. Yeah.
Put the Knights on the board with 10 outs.
Mikey Burns with that assist. And Quentin Duncan with a 5-point day so far, and we still got 3.5 to go in the second quarter. 10-4 Century. We talked about the offense and how it has been firing on all cylinders these last 4 or 5 games. And you see Coach Jeremy Benson there roaming the sideline. He's got to be pleased with the offense today against a good Westminster team. I know the 6-5 record makes it seem like they're not having a good year, but they're a tough out. And that's a face-off win for the Knights. Oh, and a quick one.
Nice play there by Koenig to catch it in midair and then throw that little near side finish. That's impressive. McLaughlin again. McLaughlin, excuse me, with another clutch ground ball in the middle of the field.
And give him a helper there, too. That's his second assist.
11 outs for.
Little surprised here, 11-4. Will Koenig with 6 points. 3 goals and 3 assists for the sophomore.
A lot of runs here so far.
A lot of runs.
5, and then 3, and then, Century on their own run here. So
I think Westminster gets that face-off. But, yeah, it was the 5-0, then the 3 straight for Westminster, and then Century got 1, went on a little run of their own, and now they're up 11-4. So the biggest lead by far today. And Westminster has to regroup in these final 3 minutes of the second quarter. And they'll have halftime to talk it over. And unfortunately for them, a lot to talk about. How to solve this this Century offense that is clicking on all cylinders right now. The Owls trying to chip into that lead a little bit here. There's Spiegel will try to spin around a defender. Really tough pass to Comfort, trying to get it inside. Ball stays in, though.
Glad they got the backup. Whoa, wow.
Arnsmeyer got his stick checked away, and you can't play it like that, so that's a procedure foul, correct, on Westminster.
Yeah, Pat, it's not a situation where Westminster's kind of just had too many of those possessions where it's early, and they're not letting the action do the work for itself. They're trying something inside too early, trying something isolation too early, and
how about that?
And Century's just zipping the ball all the way
all over the field. I mean, McLaughlin just threads the needle. Mikey Burns puts another goal in. And it's a timeout. Westminster, I believe, calls timeout. 4 goals for Burns.
For that goal, Century 12, Westminster 4.
I'm going to be honest, Pat. I was going to plan on saying this at halftime, but especially with how this second quarter's gone, the second half of the second quarter especially, I wouldn't be surprised if we see Century really just keep the foot on the gas for a long time.
Oh, as much as you can. This is a big game, right?
This game for them is really personal, and
absolutely,
and for everyone here, it's personal, of course. But like Century, for winning a couple county championships, still feels disrespected that they think that Westminster's still viewed as the standard. So this is going to be the game potentially where the dogs aren't called off for a little while if it continues like this.
Sure, they got to keep it up, of course. But 12-4 is your score. I mean, I hear you definitely. This is a big deal because again, it gives you that. You talked about this. You hit it on the head. It gives you that momentum going into the playoffs, and it also gives you the county championship. The plaque's here today at the Castle. The winning team's going to get the plaque after the game, and you'll be able to celebrate that and to do it at home. If you're Century, pretty good feeling against your arch rival. And you mentioned these last couple of seasons of this game. We had an overtime game, a classic from a couple years ago that was right down to the wire. Last year's game was a competitive game that Century was able to win. Both teams went 5-1 in county play. Oh, and another one. They are pouring it in.
Tignall as the freshman, just making grown man moves right there. Knew what he wanted to do. And unfortunately, Zengraff's has faced just such a barrage today. It's hard to kind of keep momentum and confidence in that type of situation.
Nice shot by Tignall, just going near side, upper. He celebrates, and it is all Century right now. Not the way Westminster envisioned this thing going.
Arnsmeyer behind X. 135, I think. Again, maybe a 12-second possession.
Turned into an oosh save. Tignall gets right in the middle. Noah Tignall finds the net. 10-goal lead now for Century.
I think it was Quentin Duncan with a one more pass. We've seen him involved in a bunch of really good plays today.
Wyatt McNamara was there, and Tignall just kind of got around his right shoulder, and it was easy picking from there. And this is a beatdown right now.
Yeah, I've been in this county for a little while now, Pat. I've not seen Westminster on the end of this. I've seen them give this to some teams, myself included, and it's a little different to see a Westminster Owls team down 10 at half.
We still got a lot of game to go, but this is going in the wrong direction for Westminster. Century has put on an impressive display here.
What really stands out to me so far, Pat, is they haven't had the ball that long. Like it's 14 goals, but it's how many in transition?
Yeah, right.
And how many that are just like, oh, you had the ball for a little while, we had the ball for a lot less, and the ball's in the back of the net.
In football parlance, it's the time of possession. It'd be so lopsided right now. It's almost like a high octane NFL offense that just scores quickly and doesn't have the ball that long. But yeah, I bet you if you did a time of possession, Westminster would be dominating that stat. I'm sorry. Westminster, they've held the ball a lot longer than Century. Tignall again takes a shot right in front. Doesn't matter. The ball is in the net, and that's 4 goals for the freshman. And we didn't really say his name all that much in the beginning of the first quarter. 15-4 Century.
Yeah, I'm starting to think that this is personal for Century. I think they had this circled. It's good. Good move on Tignall. He definitely knows what he wants to do. Not many kids his age are going to set up the face dodge like he does. So I like seeing a kid with that much of a kind of a dodge plan.
And let's see. Yep, Century wins the face-off. So they've crept back in there on the face-offs in the last few minutes, and another one finds the net. This was Mikey Burns. They scored quick, Grady.
So
I can't keep up.
Earlier, we were talking about how they've scored at least 14 in every half. Every game.
Yeah.
And now it's 16-4 at half. So it's definitely a high-performance outing for this Century offense. Kind of a luck of the balance right there. Goes off a couple things.
This is impressive. Final seconds of the second quarter. And Westminster needs this quarter to come to an end in a major way. They will get the final face-off and try to crank up a shot, maybe 5, 4, 3, and that sums up the half right there.
Yes, indeed.
Got a good pass, got a good look, couldn't connect to the pass. And wow, that is something right there. You're right. You've been here for a while, I've been here for a little longer, and I don't remember too many Westminster boys lacrosse team take a beating like that in one half of play. And again, that is all props to the Century Knights. Look at that halftime score, 16-4 in favor of Century here on the CMSportsNet Game of the Week. That was something.
Yeah. Coming into this game, we thought that it was going to be a good game no matter what, right? We were just debating what kind of good game it was.
Right.
Was Westminster going to be able to slow the game down? I thought with such a discrepancy at face-off X, they'd be in it a little bit more. I think, frankly, offensively, they've made a lot of bad decisions. They haven't had long possessions. They've just tried to take the first shot, not the best shot. They're not letting the action do the work. And Century's just going right down the other way. Westminster's rotating to absolutely everything. And that's going to give your offense a bunch of open looks at 6 and 8 yards. And that's not something they can afford.
Everyone sit tight. We're going to take a quick break. We got some more halftime coverage for you. Don't go away. There's more CMSportsNet Game of the Week coming right up. Skill, dedication, leadership. Just a few of the things it takes to be named CM Sportsnet's Athlete of the Week. Each week, CM Sportsnet recognizes an outstanding player for their contribution to their sport. Meet some of Carroll County student athletes and join us as we celebrate their performance, impact, and outstanding accomplishments.
CM Sportsnet Athlete of the Week is brought to you by Barnes Bollinger Insurance and by Jersey Mike Subs of Eldersburg and Mount Airy.
Gear up. Adult volunteers are needed for robotics tournaments. First Chesapeake, part of a global robotics community for youth ages 4 to 18, seeks adult volunteers to serve as referees, judges, and support staff at tournaments across Washington, D.C., Maryland, Virginia, and West Virginia, each year from November to April. No robotics experience is required. These free events inspire youth to explore STEM, science, technology, engineering, and math, while fostering leadership and teamwork. Volunteer today. Sign up online at firstchesapeake.org/volunteer. Let's gear up for the future.
Every Wednesday at CM Sportsnet, it's Game On. Tune in for a look at Carroll County sports scene. Join me as we preview upcoming games, talk with the coaches, and bring you exclusive reports you won't see anywhere else. Plus, each week we'll unveil CM Sportsnet's Athlete of the Week. Don't miss CM Sportsnet's Game On, Wednesdays at 7 p.m. We've got you covered.
I'm Danielle Inglesby, and I interned at the Community Media Center during my senior year at South Carroll High School. I was interested in the CMC because of the knowledge and experience that I would gain and to help narrow down my field for what I want to work in the future. During my internship, I learned how to operate graphics for New Blue for our sports productions and to edit various projects on Premiere. I recommend the Community Media Center for anyone interested in studio art because it definitely gave me an advantage for the future, and I learned a lot and had a ton of fun.
At Absolute Landscape, we believe that a great landscape is about transforming a space to exceed every expectation. From intricate hardscapes to lush green gardens, our goal is to bring vision to life. Creating outdoor environments for our clients, we offer services from design to installation and maintenance of your outdoor space. Enjoyment all year round is what Absolute Landscapes is all about.
First, I want to thank you all for volunteering to help Habitat for Humanity of Carroll County build a house. Your participation means so much. We couldn't do this without you. So, any questions? Come on, don't be shy. No such thing as a silly question, guys.
Donate and purchase from the Habitat Restore to help build houses.
No, you don't need to be able to hold a hammer. Anyone else?
Hey there, I'm Pat Stoetzer.
And I'm Michael Duffy, inviting you to join us for The Score and more.
Each week we'll talk about high school sports in Carroll County. We'll share information about upcoming games, highlight coaches and athletes, and much more.
We'll even try to have a little fun along the way. Don't miss The Score and More podcast, presented by CMSportsNet.
The Score and More Sports podcast is available online at carrollmediacenter.org and on a variety of podcast channels. Skill, dedication, leadership. Just a few of the things it takes to be named CM Sportsnet's Athlete of the Week. Each week, CM Sportsnet recognizes an outstanding player for their contribution to their sport. Meet some of Carroll County student athletes and join us as we celebrate their performance, impact, and outstanding accomplishments.
CM Sportsnet Athlete of the Week is brought to you by Barnes Bollinger Insurance and by Jersey Mike Subs of Eldersburg and Mount Airy.
Welcome back, CM Sportsnet Game of the Week. Pat Stoetzer and Grady Breen coming to you live from the Castle in Eldersburg at Century High School. 16-4 is our score. The Knights closed that half on an 11-1 run. We're gonna watch some first half highlights. They're going to be all Century for the most part, but we talked during the break, and we didn't have too much to say other than just wow that first half.
Yeah. It's we knew that Century was probably going to be the double digits. We didn't fully think that 11-1 run was possible at the end of the half, but goodness gracious, this has been quite the spectacle.
Yeah, 5-0 run to start the game by Century. Westminster figured it out, got it to 5-3. Since then, they've had one goal to speak of it, and you mentioned it before we hit break, and just that Westminster would win a face-off and get a chance on offense, and their offense possessions were quick.
Yeah.
If Oosh didn't make a save, it was a deflected pass and a ground ball to Century, and bam, the other way, the Knights fly down the field. And more often than not in this first half, it's turned into a goal for Century.
Yes. Yeah, it's been a lot of the very similar goals for Century.
Extra pass all the time.
Yep, exactly.
Yeah, I mean it's been impressive. I mean, we mentioned the youth on this team, and we've already called their names. I mean, Nate McLaughlin, Will Koenig, freshman Noah Tignall. I know we've talked about some of the defenders on Century's defense, and then Ushamersky, a sophomore in goal. I mean, 9th and 10th graders abound, and you wouldn't know it. You wouldn't know it if you didn't know the team. You would think they were seasoned veterans. That is a feather in Century's cap.
Yeah, it's a sign of what's to come. I think they really lose like one senior from this offense, or like kind of in the rotation. And they lose the two, D'Amico and Ferguson, stalwarts they've had, but to know they're going to have 2 or 3 more seasons of so many kids that we just mentioned is really says something. So good on them. And yeah, I did not see a 12-goal deficit at halftime. I did think that Century was going to be in the lead, but wow, good for them.
Yeah, no doubt about it. I mean, and we mentioned a couple other guys here, and there's some juniors here. Lounsbury, Quentin Duncan's having a heck of a day today.
Great day.
Those guys are back next year. We mentioned Aiden Abrams. He's a freshman. We saw him earlier in the game. It's a young roster, but a roster of talented players. And again, Century, 2 of their wins got taken away because of forfeits of an eligible player on their roster. That can take your season south sometimes.
Yeah.
It did not for the Knights, and they're motivated to get to this day on the calendar. You mentioned maybe it's personal. Yeah, I think it is personal.
Yep,
they want to win the county title, and they want to beat Westminster in the process. And so far, they're one half away from doing that.
Yeah, now, frankly, Pat, I'm really interested to see what the Century team could do in the 2A playoffs. They won the county last year, made some noise, ended up running into a good Man Val team that they had beaten earlier, but this team is special.
No doubt, 10 assists so far on 16 goals for Century. You see the team stats through the first half. The 12 faceoffs for Westminster are positive. But going against that is also 8 saves by my count for Jacob Ushamersky. Wes Zengraff made a few saves there in the first half, but a lot of this has not been his fault. He's been peppered so far by that Century offense.
Peppered and peppered from short distance. It's not like they're bombing threes. Right. It's a lot of 6, 8, 10-yard shots, and that's tough to recover and tough to adjust to.
Yeah, it's not a great look, not a great recipe when you're a goalie. That one was almost another great chance for Duncan. Zengraff comes out with the ground ball, but here's Westminster's problem. They're going to call push and keep up with the Owls, but they've had a struggle here just trying to generate any kind of offense, save for that 2-3 minute stretch in the first middle of the first quarter. But the Owls will have it here as the third quarter is underway. And we'll see what both coaches talk to their teams about just after the first few minutes of the third quarter sort of transpires. And what would you be thinking that Coach Fleming was talking to the Owls about? Obviously, you can't do much about what happened in the first half. There's a nice save again by Oosh, but what do you think that he was trying to implore to his guys?
I think for Westminster, they got to rotate to things a little bit differently. We talked kind of off air a little bit. They're over rotating to X with the zone they're playing, and they're also rotating to a lot of stuff in transition that's allowing all of the one more passes to open up, and then Century, it's just more of the same. Don't be complacent and really send a message.
Yeah. They've sent the message here in this first half for sure, at the beginning and into the third quarter here. Yeah, we talked during the break, you and I, in the booth here, and Westminster's defense just a little bit off kilter in terms of rotating to the ball and rotating off the ball and allowing Century to have some easy looks to the cage. Oh, nice low shot saved by Ushamersky. Arnsmeyer tried it again, didn't get there.
Yeah, a good example, Pat, of just those saves that Ushamersky makes that just get in shooters' heads. You by the book, you're like, I've got this goalie figured out, and then he just does something like that.
It starts to play with you a little bit, right? Oh,
Absolutely.
Nice interception, though. Wyatt McNamara. Nice play by the Owls defender.
Nice.
Good pass and a goal there for Westminster. Nick Durr.
Good one more pass there from Zepp. They skip the ball down to Arnsmeyer. Arnsmeyer to Zepp to Durr. Bit of kind of a transition broken situation there. But I was glad to see them put more effort in the one more pass. And that's selling their first half short, but they've been a little bit selfish with things or impatient with things is the best way to describe it in that first half, which played into Century speed.
Now we've got running clock now still. Another face-off won by Westminster.
Another save by Ushamersky. McLaughlin with probably his 100th clear of the day.
And Mikey Burns.
Duncan. Oh, good take, but a good save by Zengraff.
Yep, so Wes Zengraff keeps it. An 11-goal margin. As weird as that sounds.
Yeah, I think, Pat, if there's any Carroll County lacrosse scholars, if they could tell us when the last time there was a running clock in between these two teams, it would probably be pretty far back in the book, if you ask me.
It'd have to be back in Century's infancy, maybe.
Yeah.
Well, there's a nice job by a defender. Actually, it was McLaughlin. He takes the tumble, and they're going to get a push, I think, on the Owls.
Good call there by the ref.
You heard it, guys. You heard it, everybody. A coach praising a ref for a good call.
I'm technically allowed to now that I'm off a sideline.
Absolutely.
No, but as I tell all of my kids when I was coaching, like so many calls are just optical. Like if it looks bad, it's going to be called, and a lot of times those push with possession or loose ball push are the easiest. Oh, great save by Zengraft.
Great save. Tignall had a good look. Now you're right. I mean, if it looks bad, you said this a couple broadcasts ago. If it looks bad, it's going to get called.
Yep.
Oh, and another big save. So Zengraft starting to lock it up.
Good for him. Not as a goalie. People talk about confidence, but they don't always talk about how hard it is to get your confidence back within a game. So
sure. And especially being given up 16 goals.
Yeah, for him to kind of start this second half with saves like that is awesome.
Now, we've mentioned Wyatt McNamara a few times. That was a really nice job on that interception and clear. We've mentioned him a couple times in helping the Owls to get set up on offense. So good job by Wyatt McNamara, senior defender on this Westminster team.
Yeah, if there's real positive plays coming out of that defensive end for Westminster, typically McNamara's involved. So
perfect world here. Grady with 6 or so left. You try to get, if you're Westminster, you try to get it down to 5 or 6 goals if you could go on a little bit of a run. I mean, you're down 11, so you'd have to shut out Century. I'm just trying to get in the Owls' heads a bit here. You can't give up too many more goals. You really don't give up any, and that's obviously a pretty hard thing to say. But that's what I think what you're trying to do here if you're Westminster. You can't chip away too much because you're running out of time.
No, but things like riding this ball, that's encouraging. Making the pulls handle, that's a plus, and then knowing that they're going to win a bunch of faceoffs, that's a plus. Ironically, Century used to be this really tough team to play against because you lose possession and then they'd have the ball for 5.5 minutes.
Sure, yeah, sure.
So
not their style anymore.
Not their style, but. In this type of game, chip away confident, attempt to chip away confidently, knowing that you can probably get the ball back, and their possessions won't be incredibly long.
Right, but now they're on defense and can't chip away when you don't have the ball.
No, sir.
Koenig tried to go through that sea of defenders. That was a tough one.
Surprised that didn't get a call from the ref. Probably had a different angle than myself.
Oh, and airmailed. That's you can't do that if you're Westminster right now.
That's tough.
That was tough. Mikey Burns, another save by Zengraff off his foot, I believe.
Great
lower body for sure.
Great string of 3 saves.
Yeah, Zengraff has shorted up here a little bit. As it stands at the moment, maybe a little too late, but we still got 4 minutes left in this quarter, and I guess actually, you know what? I'll take that back. The first thing the Owls want to do is get under the running clock because that's what's going against them right now. So they want to get it back to a 9-goal, double digits, right? Anything above 10.
Yep.
Or above 9 is the running clock in boys lacrosse. Nice pass. Oh, and another great save. Right in front was Quentin Duncan. Wow, Wes Zengraft has kept this game where it is right now in the last 90 seconds or so. Good on him. Oh, nice check by Burns.
Check.
Here comes Tignall. Oh, he dodges a fake shot. Tignall with the shot and a goal. Noah Tignall says, enough of these saves. Let's put one in the net.
Yeah, that was one of those goals that you can just feel the exhale from Westminster of like, oh.
We did all that hard work.
All that, failed clear to get the ball back, and especially 3 or 4 great saves from Zengraff.
Absolutely. That's goal number 5 for Noah Tignall. And the clock continues to run with the 12-goal Century lead. Yeah, it's going to be a push in the back.
Loose ball push there.
Another face-off for the Owls. But time is starting to run out on the Owls here in this county championship game. Oh, there's a nice
great
one.
take by Zepp.
Chase Zepp, number 10, finds the net. His first goal.
Westminster goal made by number 10, Chase Zepp.
We'll give that.
Goal put the Owls on the board with 6.
Give that assist to Hitchcock. That's his second.
You know, it's funny, Pat, talking to Coach Benson earlier this year, they were coming out of a 7-2 loss to a very good Catonsville team. And he said, yeah, my offense just hasn't figured it quite out yet.
Yeah.
That's the distant past at this point.
Oh, gosh. It's only a different team.
Yeah.
The only mark against Century so far in this one is the faceoffs. Westminster doing a good job, winning a few by penalty here and there, but still, other than that, it's been an A-plus effort for the Century Knights. Clock continuing to run because of the 11-goal deficit that Westminster faces, but the Owls had the ball with 1:05 to go in the third quarter.
Cam Webb with his.
That shot went a little bit wide.
Good dodge there.
Yeah, that was Webb. Senior Cam Webb, one of the midfielders for the Owls. To this point in the season, they've been a pretty balanced offense. Arnsmeyer contributing, of course, Hitchcock, Zepp, and Webb, but they don't have that one guy they're going to go on. And meanwhile, Century has put on a clinic today. Here's JT Ferguson taking a shot. Why not? Let one rip if you got a chance. Here's the Knights. Oh, just a little bit off there. And now Westminster will get the turnover. Koenig couldn't quite corral that pass. The Owls have a chance. Oh, time runs out. That went in the net. Hitchcock got it in the net, but the horn went off. Doesn't count. And that's kind of been Westminster's day, right?
Yeah, not, 16-4 at half and 1-1 after that accelerated, third quarter there, Pat. Not what we expected. Not what Westminster wanted in a way, but at least they managed the bleeding a little bit.
They did. They did.
After the game.
Got some solid goalie play there, and definitely indefinite stretches from senior Wes Zengraff. But look, the damage, I mean, you and I know this, the damage has been done to this point already. The Knights poured it on in the first half and are continuing to lead this thing by double digits as we see some of the third quarter highlights. And how impressive has Noah Tignall been? It's the first time I've seen him in terms of live and in person. I'm impressed.
Yeah, I think the big thing about Tignall that stands out to me, and you see this in some other sports, but I think especially in lacrosse, is like you can see how much he's thinking, right? Like sometimes you see a freshman really stand out for like how big he is, or we saw this with Ushamirski last year with like how quick he reacted. Tignall, it's like he's got a plan for every dodge. You can see him kind of like reading his defender. It's usually a skill that comes about a lot later in a kid's career. So to watch him kind of play with a defender a little bit more is impressive to be a ninth grader. That's what really stands out.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And he's got talented sophomores on either side of him. He's got Quentin Duncan out there as a junior. I mean, it's a talented core. And kind of scary to think that this offense didn't quite have it figured out in the first 3, 4, 5 games.
Yeah.
Because when it did, it really has turned things around for Century. If you don't count the 2 games they had to give up by forfeit, they've won 7 straight.
Oh,
that ball never
good
got there.
Tip there.
That ball never got there. And Owls won the faceoff again. But again, one shot and sort of done. Oh, there's a goal.
Yeah, that's just been kind of the way of the day right there. You get cross crease pass, the one more. They get a little backhand action. Before you know it, it's 18-6.
McLaughlin finds the net. Give Burns another assist.
Put the Knights on the board with 18. Owls.
Century is on its way to a county championship, and this is, you don't tend to make too many statement games. Maybe late in the regular season, you want to be playing your best lacrosse right now. Obviously, as on the eve of the playoffs. It's about as good as Century can play, given the circumstances and the stakes. Yet again, an Owls face-off win. (18-6). 18 goals, 11 assists by my count for Century. Westminster's got 4 assists on their 6 goals. So definitely two teams that want to distribute the ball. There's one. There's a big rip there by Webb. Got to make an uphill battle here for Century, and that's how you do it, one at a time.
Little shot off that screen by the defender. Change planes.
Hitchcock with another assist. That gives him 3. And we got a penalty afterward, I believe.
Penalty against Century.
Century penalty. So Hanscom for Century at the X. I can't try to make out who it is for Westminster. It might be Grant Stinnett. Ball down, face-off won by the Owls again. Hitchcock.
Good take there.
Yeah, it definitely was. Took a rip just a little bit wide left.
Travels wide.
Owls back it up.
Backed up by Westminster, remains Owls ball.
9 minutes to go. Now, is that Usha's save?
Honestly, I
didn't see it.
Yeah, I scanned over at the exact same time you did. That.
Yep. That's out of bounds, and Century will have the ball.
Westminster's pass goes out of bounds. Century bringing it in.
GT Ferguson. And we got a timeout.
Timeout on the field called by Century.
So timeout here. 7:52 remaining in the fourth quarter. Century trying to hang on and get this victory, which will make them 5-1 in county play. The one loss actually was a game they won. This has certainly been impressive, Grady. I've been impressed from the start. Westminster has had its moments for sure, but the fact that these two teams have played each other, like you said, and had some knockdown dragouts and some barn burners through the years, and the class of the county last couple seasons, these two teams, they've combined to win a slew of county titles in the last decade. This has been the most impressive one that I can remember. Like you've already mentioned it a few times in recent memory. Westminster doesn't lose games like this.
No.
Not in the county, no less. So
Century is playing a song that Westminster's played a bunch of times over the years.
Yes. And that's not a song they want to hear right now. Tignall's got the ball being defended by McNamara. Pretty good battle there between those two. McLaughlin. Sophomore made a nice move there to try to create some space, and it's been Century's day, that is for sure. Just a quick word to our viewers that after the handshakes today, there will be a county championship presentation of the plaque. There's a nice save by Zengraft on Tignall. Nice job by Zengraft there. So stay tuned for that. Hopefully we'll be able to show you some of that where the Knights will celebrate with the county championship plaque. That's 9 saves now by my count for Wes Zengraft. So good job after beating, like we said, really taking the brunt of this Century offense. He's kept his head in this game and done his best to keep his team at least within shouting distance, but 18-7 right now. Oh, there's a nice shot. Oh, hit the outside of the net. Good shot by Chase Zepp.
Duncan carrying the ball up the far side.
And McLaughlin will carry it around to that far side. 5.5 left.
It'll be interesting, Pat, to see just how many, shots they take in the last 5.5. Seems like they're just very content at this point. With an 11-goal lead to.
Yeah, exactly. Clock's their friend.
Yes.
And even with a turnover or another score, even if the Owls will score again, still clock runs.
Yep.
So you try to kill off a few minutes with every possession here, and Century's done a good job here. Oh, nice job. Nice defense
nice check there by Webb.
Yeah. They're not going to stop playing hard, that's for sure.
Spiegel in the middle of the field.
Hitchcock. Oh, beg your pardon. That was Zepp, number 10. My bad. Hitchcock's behind. That was Arnsmeyer on the far side. Here's Wareheim.
Oh, good tip there.
I think Oosh tipped that away. Yeah. Oosh has been fun to watch in goal. Both goalies have had their moments for sure, but Jacob Ushamersky showing why he leads the county in saves and percentage. That's not usually the case. The goalies with the most saves are usually the ones that have a tough defense, or a defense that's not the best. Century's defense is pretty good.
And it can't be stated enough that Ushamersky just changes everything, right? Because they're not he's making up for when they do slip up in ways that it really changes how you approach offense against a team like Century. Because there's just so many things that he erases, and it's like, well, yeah, there was a misslide, but he still saved it.
Sure.
And then what do you do next?
Right.
Very similar in the name of this rivalry to Logan Covey.
Oh yeah.
The Westminster grad from a couple of years ago.
Sure.
One of some of the stout goaltenders that Century's had, but
sure,
he draws a lot of reminders from Covey in my mind, just in terms of how acrobatically he plays, and he only gets bigger as the time goes.
He makes the most of his size in between the pipes as well, and makes it really hard. And you hit it on the head earlier. I think you're right. You would know more than me. It gets in the offensive player's head. How can I get the ball past this guy? I know I trust my skills, but he's making it hard. So maybe I'll change my approach. And if you do that, you're off your game. And he's got you right there too. So,
yeah, it's in the realm of lacrosse. It's not like football. You can't just go out there and call it a different play. So you're in a huddle at halftime or timeout and saying, hey, let's change planes, let's put it on the ground, and then he just falls in his butt and it makes a save that you don't expect.
Right.
Kind of like, all right, let's go back to the drawing board the next time the coach talks.
Oh,
Goodness.
my. Now that was fun to watch.
Good for Cam Webb. That was all heart. That young man says there's 2 minutes left in this game. He's down by 10, but he is still fighting. Well done, 2-3.
Well, we saw a South Carroll goal similar to that earlier in the year.
Very similar to the Cannon Hunter goal.
Cannon Hunter falling down. That time Cam Webb would not be denied. 18-8 with 1:50 to go.
Good take there again by Spiegel.
Westminster backs up the shot. Their name's Al's ball. Shot travels wide of the goal. Timeout on the field.
And a timeout with 1:10 to go. And Century 70 seconds away from celebrating the county championship. And we've run out of superlatives for the most part. I mean, we've been saying this a lot, and it's Century's day. It's been Century's day from the start.
Yeah, and they're just talented in a way that we haven't seen. Century's had some awesome teams. Clearly, 3 of the last 4 counties, but offensively loaded in a way that we haven't seen them. Youth revolution in a way that we haven't seen. Westminster, not the typical Westminster team that we've seen in a little while, and that's okay.
Right.
But, as I said earlier, this has been what Century has done to Westminster has done to a lot of teams. Century's doing to Westminster right now, and frankly, Century's saying we are the new standard in this county.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, it's not a good feeling in that Westminster huddle, and it's going to sting, and it's not the game you thought you were going to have today. And as we were getting ready for warm-ups, and we thought it might be Westminster's offense against Century's defense, and the Owls can score goals, although they hadn't been scoring as many goals last couple games, but they put in 8. They put in 5 the other day against Catonsville and lost by 1, and put in 8, figure you're in good shape, and you look up and you're down by 10, and that's a shot to the solar plexus, and it's not a good feeling. On the flip side, there's not much to complain about with those guys in the white jerseys today. Jeremy Benson's done a good job with this team. Again, they didn't let those 2 forfeits phase them at all. Have to deal with a little bit of that adversity, and it's a young bunch, but a talented bunch, and it's going to be fun to see what they can do in the playoffs.
Oh, great save by Ushamarski. Tracking that ball off the bounce that's big time skill right there.
Final minute, JT Ferguson might want to get it on the offense. He tried.
I believe it offsides on Century.
Yeah, that might have been the defender going over the line when he didn't need to.
Yeah.
There might be some personal foul stuff going on with Westminster. I don't know if somebody said something or what, but I think they're going to just let this go. The clock's running.
Penalties, both against the Owls.
Yep, that's not going to matter because by the time they sort this all out, that's the game. Wow. Yeah, that's about all you could say.
Message sent, message received, Pat. That was a beautiful day for Saturday lacrosse in Carroll County.
Especially if you're a Century Knight. Good day to be a Knight. Be careful, don't hurt Oosh. they piled up on him there.
County champ presentation on the main field.
Century High School, your 2025 boys lacrosse Carroll County Athletic League champs, and that is about as emphatic as it can possibly be. And we'll have a handshake line, and we'll have the presentation of the county championship plaque, and well earned by Century.
Yes. Yep. Yeah. There. We can't say anything additional to what we've already said. It's now at this point, I'm just excited to see what they could potentially do in the state bracket.
And can they? Right. I think that's their next thought. Right. We've had a couple years like this where we've had that momentum, and we have.
Yep.
I won't say fizzled, but didn't go as far as they want. Now they did go to a state final back in 2019.
Yep.
That feels like a long time ago, and there's obviously nobody on this team was on that squad. But they've gotten there before with Coach Benson. I don't know if it's the same makeup. That was more of a defensive. What I mean is maybe the goals weren't as many, as plentiful as it was back in 2019. But if they play like they did today, they will be a hard out in the two playoffs.
What I've always been impressed by or noted is playoffs are short, right? First round is a Wednesday. Potential region final on a Friday. You're playing
That's true.
Because in that case, similar to March Madness, right?
Yeah.
Your scouts are shorter, right? Your scouts are shorter. Not all regions are created equal. So, we saw this with Liberty last year. You get some favorable matchups, but good offenses and good good offenses and good goaltending tend to translate typically. I haven't usually, those are some things that you can count on.
Sure.
So I would not like to be a team from outside of Carroll County and play a Century team on a day of practice, right?
and it's quick. It's just got to be that quick mentality.
You're not focused as much on what they do well. It's like, hey, we just got to make sure we're doing the things we need to. So congrats to Century, and now for the county's sake, we hope that they go far.
AD Ashley Hoyt got to get out of that huddle quick. There's your county championship plaque. Well deserved by Century. Miss Hoyt hands it off to the players. And Century will celebrate. They'll get some team picks. Pretty impressive.
Yes.
Yep. Pretty impressive. JT Ferguson holding the plaque next to Dom D'Amico. And I'd be more, scared by that offense after what we saw today. I know the defense plays very well, and Ushamersky is great at the goal, but that offense is scary.
Yep.
At least it showed today. And it was spread out today, too. I mean, we can go through it here in a minute, but I think 5 goals for the freshman Noah Tignall, 3 for, I put my reading glasses on so I can see, 3 for Will Koenig. He also had 3 assists. 5 goals for Mikey Burns, too, and 3 assists. 8-point day for Burns. We heard Quentin Duncan. I know Nate McLaughlin had 3 assists.
Yep.
It was very well-rounded, but they've got a couple studs up top that can really pump in goals. I mean, 10 goals combined from Burns and Tignall is tough.
Yeah, to stop this Century team, you're going to have to do a lot of things well and capitalize on everything. Because Westminster, they were winning it at faceoffs. They couldn't cash it in. They forced some turnovers in the ride. Yeah, they got a couple broken plays, but they're also, they're a much faster team than they used to be. Century historically has been a slow it down, let's win 7-5, 8-6 type situation, which is hard in and of itself because you're giving up 5-minute possessions.
Sure.
So this version is it's different.
It is different, no doubt. Watching some of the highlights here, and some of the players pose with the trophy and the plaque. There's more hardware to go after, right? There's definitely more hardware to try to go after.
Yep.
And the season's really just beginning now.
Yeah.
With your county championship, and then your county championship, and then your regional title will be up next if you can defend that. And like you mentioned it a minute ago, you got to sort of go day by day here in the playoffs and have that one and done mentality. But Century is, if this is the start of that journey, that's a pretty impressive start.
Yep.
Did one thing impress you more than the other, offensively today? I mean, we saw some of the young guys, what they can do.
I think they were able to have a lot of the same goal, right? A lot of things in transition, a lot of great 5-on-4s, a lot of great 4-on-3s. Honestly, a bunch of talent on this field. I think Ushamersky was the best player on the field. And that's no slight to the Tignals of the world, the Zepps of the world, the McLaughlins of the world, the Duncans of the world. Yeah. That is a different game if they have somebody different in net, right? And so there's a lot of risks you can take with a goalie like that. Yeah. So good on the Knights, and congrats to Coach Benson.
Absolutely.
He's done a lot for this county.
He has, and Westminster will do its best to rebound from this game. And you don't want a game like that, but you can use it to your advantage, right? Like, we're better than this. This is going to be a bad taste in our mouth. What do we do in the playoff?
Yeah, and that games like what we saw with them against Manchester Valley, they still happened. Right, this Westminster team, and that's why we're impressed that the final score is that we know the talent Westminster have. Good on Wes Zengraft, getting a couple great saves late. All regions aren't created equal in the playoffs. Right. Some things can happen. You might come out of a region, and then your matchups more favorable than even the region final. So, I wish Coach Fleming the best in the playoffs, because he's got guys like Spiegel and Hitchcock and Zepp that know how to play big-time lacrosse down the stretch.
And knowing that program, they'll do their best to rebound on
for sure.
Grady, fun, my man.
Always a pleasure, Pat.
It was fun, man. Yeah, hopefully. I'm glad you came in with us this year. Sort of short notice. I said, hey, want to do a game with me? You said absolutely, and we wound up doing 3 of them. So always fun to watch and talk lacrosse with you. And we want to thank Grady Breen for his help with us on the game. We don't go away, though. We're taking a break. We come back. We'll talk to the CMSportsNet player of the game and wrap things up from the Castle. Game of the week coming right back. Every Wednesday at CM Sportsnet, it's Game On. Tune in for a look at Carroll County sports scene. Join me as we preview upcoming games, talk with the coaches, and bring you exclusive reports you won't see anywhere else. Plus, each week we'll unveil CM Sportsnet's Athlete of the Week. Don't miss CM Sportsnet's Game On, Wednesdays at 7 p.m. We've got you covered. Skill, dedication, leadership. Just a few of the things it takes to be named CM Sportsnet's Athlete of the Week. Each week, CM Sportsnet recognizes an outstanding player for their contribution to their sport. Meet some of Carroll County student athletes and join us as we celebrate their performance, impact, and outstanding accomplishments.
CM Sportsnet Athlete of the Week is brought to you by Barnes Bollinger Insurance and by Jersey Mike Subs of Eldersburg and Mount Airy.
First, I want to thank you all for volunteering to help Habitat for Humanity of Carroll County build a house. Your participation means so much. We couldn't do this without you. So, any questions? Come on, don't be shy. No such thing as a silly question, guys.
Donate and purchase from the Habitat Restore to help build houses.
No, you don't need to be able to hold a hammer. Anyone else?
Hey there, I'm Pat Stoetzer.
And I'm Michael Duffy, inviting you to join us for The Score and more.
Each week we'll talk about high school sports in Carroll County. We'll share information about upcoming games, highlight coaches and athletes, and much more.
We'll even try to have a little fun along the way. Don't miss The Score and More podcast, presented by CM SportsNet.
The Score and More Sports podcast is available online at carrollmediacenter.org and on a variety of podcast channels. Skill, dedication, leadership. Just a few of the things it takes to be named CM Sportsnet's Athlete of the Week. Each week, CM Sportsnet recognizes an outstanding player for their contribution to their sport. Meet some of Carroll County student athletes and join us as we celebrate their performance, impact, and outstanding accomplishments.
CM Sportsnet Athlete of the Week is brought to you by Barnes Bollinger Insurance and by Jersey Mike Subs of Eldersburg and Mount Airy.
skill, dedication, leadership. Just a few of the things it takes to be named CM SportsNet's Athlete of the Week. Each week, CM SportsNet recognizes an outstanding player for their contribution to their sport. Meet some of Carroll County student athletes and join us as we celebrate their performance, impact, and outstanding accomplishments.
CM SportsNet Athlete of the Week is brought to you by Barnes Bollinger Insurance and by Jersey Mike Subs of Eldersburg and Mount Airy. CM SportsNet Player of the Game is brought to you by Genova's To Go and by
All right, welcome back. CM SportsNet Game of the Week and the CM SportsNet Player of the Game, Mikey Burns of Century. The Knights win 18-8 over Westminster. Mikey, congrats on the win, man. If I told you before the game started that you were going to win this by 10 and dominate this game, would you have believed me, or what's the feeling like to do what you did today?
It would have been a mix, we thought we knew we were going to come in here, play. We didn't think it was, going to be a 10-goal game. We thought of them. We didn't underestimate them. Sure. So we came in thinking it was going to be a close game. But I guess we just outplayed them. So
you guys definitely did almost from the start. How important was that 5-0 run to start the game? Because you obviously want to get your offense going, but your offense has been cooking the last 4 or 5 games. To go up 5-0 on them, could you feel the wind out of their sails at that point?
Yeah, going up 5, knocked the nerves off. We know we can get 5 quick ones. When they came back, the nerves, started to come back a little bit. But,
sure.
I didn't let it get to me. I knew we can get 5 in, so I just, kept playing.
Yeah, I think they got it to 5-3, and then after that, the first half ended on an 11-1 run, and you pretty much took the game over at that point. We've talked to Coach and some of you guys during the season about just the offense and how it's free-flowing, and a lot of guys can play anywhere they want. I know Will said, I'll play midfield attack. I know you do a little bit of both. How has that come together this year? Maybe a little bit off in the beginning of the season, but it's really taken off. What's been the key to the offense's success, you think?
The key is just everyone, participating. We can't just have 3, attacking that just dodge. We need middies. We need everyone. One person, if there's only one person who can score, then the defense is going to lock that one person off. So it's really important to have multiple weapons.
Before I ask you about winning the county title, having your defense back there with JT and Dom as seniors, and then having Oosh in the goal, fellow sophomore. I mean, he was on his head today again, making some huge saves. To be honest, if he doesn't play the way he did, that game could have been different. It was determined to be a 10-goal win. What's it like playing in front of a defense like that?
Playing with a defense like that, you can't be afraid to make mistakes because, if it goes down to their side, I know they can lock it up every time. Ush did great, getting a couple great saves.
Absolutely, yeah.
So, it's not afraid to make mistakes.
Yeah, because you've got guys there that can help you out. Now the county title, the meaning of this game. You had to circle on your calendar for a while. It's a Saturday afternoon, nice weather and all that. What does it mean to do this on your field against a really good Westminster team and do it the way you did it?
I find it really great to do it in front of everyone, in front of my friends, in front of my family. It's just great to get that title. Now everything in the past doesn't matter. We just have to think of playoffs now.
Right.
If we lose, we're out. So we can't let get ahead of ourselves here.
Yeah, you change that mindset, but this is good momentum going into the regional playoffs. I have to think. Yeah. Mikey, thanks very much, man. Mikey Burns, stay with me right here. CM SportsNet Player of the Game, and that'll do it for the Game of the Week. I want to thank Ashley Hoyt, the AD at Century, for helping us on our broadcast, and of course Grady Breen for helping me call the game. Be sure to watch all of our or catch all of our high school sports content online on Facebook and YouTube, and you can watch us on cable channel HD 1072. Don't forget to follow us on Instagram at CM SportsNet Action. So from everybody here at the Castle, from Mikey Burns, Grady Breen, I'm Pat Stoetzer saying have a good rest of your weekend. We'll see you next time.
CMSportsNet is made possible by Genova's To Go, Carroll Links, Carroll Indoor Sports Center, Absolute Landscape, and Independent Car Service.
Hungry? Genova's To Go. Pizza, pasta, subs, and more. Fresh hot pizza right from the oven. Genova's To Go. A mouth-watering cheesesteak just off the grill. Genova's To Go. Fresh baked bread and plump wings seconds from the fryer. Genova's To Go. Genova's To Go carry-out, delivery, mobile device, and online ordering is available at all locations. Westminster, Hampstead, Manchester, and our newest dining room in Eldersburg. For lunch, dinner, or any time in between. Genova's To Go.
There's a lot of. They drink the same coffee, they have the same great job, and they both have a high-quality education. The only difference? Sarah spent her first 2 years at Carroll Community College, getting the same exceptional education, but at less than half the cost. So while Tara uses her paycheck to make student loan payments, Sarah can use hers for other things, like going out for coffee. Get started at carrollcc.edu.
Carroll Indoor Sports Center, celebrating its 30th season. 66,000 square feet of fields and courts. Rain or shine, multiple soccer and lacrosse leagues. Artificial turf fields and courts to rent. Party rooms and snack bar available. Summer camp for the kids. Safe indoor environment for athletes of all ages. Carroll Indoor Sports Center. Your sport, anytime.
At Absolute Landscape, we believe that a great landscape is about transforming a space to exceed every expectation. From intricate hardscapes to lush green gardens, our goal is to bring vision to life. Creating outdoor environments for our clients, we offer services from design to installation and maintenance of your outdoor space. Enjoyment all year round is what Absolute Landscapes is all about.